Welcome back. It's time to create our own graph. And I've created the template here for you. You can also create your own if you want, but I've only included things that let you focus on the critical part. We have a graph class and a few methods that we're going to have to add. Now, we're going to recreate a graph right here. A undirected, unweighted graph like this using adjacency list. And for the adjacency list, we're going to use a hash table. So how are we going to go about doing this? Well, I have a few things that I've set up for you. One is that in the constructor, we have simply number of nodes that we'll have to increment just to keep track of how many nodes or vertices we have in our graph. And also, I've created the adjacent list for you, which is an object. And as you do this exercise, you're going to realize why we want to use, let's say, an object versus an array. Because if we start removing things from the graph or placing things in the graph that's out of order, it's going to cost us a lot. Remember, arrays on shifting and shifting is expensive. With objects, we can quickly find items and see their connections. So that ideally, in this case where we have 3, or let's look at 0, in this case we'll have 0 is going to be connected to an array of its connections, which will be 1 and 2. So it'll have something like this. Your task is to add a new method called addVertex that adds a new node or a vertex. The naming here kind of goes back and forth. And then also addEdge. That is to add a connection between node 1 and node 2. And keep in mind that this is undirected, if I could spell. It's an undirected graph. So both node 1 and node 2 point to each other. And if you scroll down here, I've actually created the calls, the function calls that we're going to do. We've created the graph, and then I'm creating 0 all the way through 6, just like we have on the graph here. And then we're going to add the edges, that is the connection between everything. 1 is connected to 0, 0 is connected to 2, 6 is connected to 5. Simply just saying this. I'm never repeating myself. That means I'm never saying add 3 and 1 and then saying add edge 1 and 3. I only say this once, and that's the key. And also the order doesn't matter. If I switch the order of these calls around, it should still give me this graph. All right, I know you're excited to get coding, but the final thing, and this is only optional, if you want to do this yourself, you can also code it yourself, but it's not really that important for this video. I've created a small helper function called showConnections. And you can look through this function if you want. It's not really important to the core of the course, but I've made this so you can check your work. Because if I run this using, at the end, my graph, showConnections, it's going to print out the answer like this. And it's going to show all the connections of the graphs that you've created. And this way, you can check that these connections, that is, node 4 is connected to 3, 2, and 5. Node 4 is connected to 3, 2, and 5, just like we have here. All right, that's enough for me. Good luck on this exercise, and I'll see you in the solution video. Bye-bye.